Hello, and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kate Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to part 2, the sign by sign, for the week of April 19th through April 25th. Get ready. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much. As I'm recording, this is episode 93. We are racing to that 100-point mark, and I'm going to be offering a special next week. You help me get those numbers up there, and I'll be offering a special deal on my astrology readings. So get ready for that announcement next week. For now, I want to remind you that if you didn't listen to the episode that came out on Thursday, I want you to listen to it. I know, it's a lot. I know. But I want you to listen to it because honestly, hearing the kind of overview really helps you make sense. Because while we get hit hardest in the sign where the event is happening, and by event, this week, I mean the triple conjunction between Saturn, Mars, and Mercury. We get hit hardest where it's happening. That's in Aries, remember that, where we've been having that giant stellium and everything going on. So Aries has been lit up for a while now. But the energy is also general, and there are a lot of planets involved, and they all rule other signs. So just because you're going to probably feel this the strongest in the Aries house in your chart, it doesn't mean you're not going to feel the more general vibe as well. So please go back and listen to the other episode that I released this week if you didn't already. The other thing is, I want to remind you, listen to your rising sign. It is always going to be most accurate. We are our rising signs, okay? But if you don't know it, if you're born during the daytime, listen to your sun sign. If you're born at night, listen to your moon sign to get the most general overall sense of the energy this week. Listen to all three. So let's just jump right on into it. So let me make clear what I'm talking about. Again, as I already said, Saturn, Mars, Mercury form a triple conjunction this week. Honestly, I'm already going through this energy. They are close enough, even depending on when you listen to this, even the week before. I'm feeling this energy, and the issues are coming up in my life in a very tangible, very real way already. But I want you to focus mostly on the 19th and the 20th. Those are going to be the days when the planets are just piled on top of each other. So what are we talking about? Saturn, old structures, old ways, tradition, the structures of our lives, right? The systems that we've put in place to kind of organize our lives. Mars, the separator, the warrior, passionate energy, go fast, fire. Saturn is slow, remember. And then Mercury, our communication in all of its forms, our mind, our thoughts, and everything that happens, quote, in the marketplace. So business dealings, contracts, money, work stuff, okay? So it's a lot. And boy, howdy, it's a lot. So I want to remind you, this is really going to have to do with a push-pull energy. Saturn and Mars are about as opposite as you can get. So I hear a lot of people describing this, a lot of astrologers describing this as the rock meets the immovable object, like a standoff, right? Like you hit the wall. Some astrologers are saying it's like having your foot on the gas pedal and the brake both as hard as you can at the same time. The way I describe it is more like a push-pull. So it gets to the same place. We don't move, right? So whichever metaphor works best for you, there's this push-pull. Move, don't move, go fast, don't go fast, tear it down, don't tear it down, protect the old structure. And how is this playing out? Mercury is involved. It's playing out in our brains, in our thoughts, in the messages we're putting out in the world, in our business dealings. So think of it as just frustration central. Okay, that's what this really is. The best way through is going to be we're going to have to cut some things out. Mars has to do with cutting things away, and Mars is in rulership in Aries. Saturn doesn't like Aries, so Mars is actually stronger and I think going to win. We're going to have to cut out things. If you listen to my earlier episode about the general energy, you know that I'm suspending my Substack, which I've been writing for a very long time. So that's what I'm talking about. What do you need to cut out of what you've been doing for a long time, or the way you've been doing something for a long time? I think those are the kinds of things we're going to be grappling with. But this week, it's going to be frustrating. It is going to be super frustrating. All right, now into the sign by sign. Let's start with Aries. And Aries, this is happening in your first house. This is you. So you may be feeling like you kind of want to reinvent yourself, but there's a part of you going, no, this is my identity. This is who I am. This is who I've always been. And you're like, yeah, but I'm ready to sort of start a new chapter, be a new person, that kind of thing. And it's going to require ultimately some sort of cutting away. So what in your sense of self, in the way you present yourself, the way you communicate, those kinds of things, the way you think about yourself, Mercury, what do you need to cut away? It's easy for me to say this, and you may be thinking like, oh yeah, I can do that. It just sounds like I have to make a compromise, right? It's not going to feel easy this week. You're going to be like, yeah, I've got to cut this out. No. This is precious to me, right? So give yourself time, take care of your mental health, and take care of your physical health. First house is our body, along with it being a million other things, but make sure that you're getting enough activity. Mars wants activity. Some of the frustration will be lessened or feel less heavy if you stay active. Saturn wants rest. Saturn works hard, but also it's slow. So any way that you can kind of slow down, give yourself time to process, that's going to be good too. All right. So take care of your health, mental and physical, and just start looking at what needs to change and what do you need to let go of in order for that to happen. Make sense? Moving on to Taurus. Taurus, I'm not loving this for you. Honestly, I think this is going to be rough. This is happening in the 12th house, which is the hidden house, the house of our undoing. I think you're going to be in your head a lot. Okay. So this is really you sort of just in some kind of, I don't know, Neptune is here as well. And even though he's not in the tight conjunction, he's not that far away. So feeling sort of lost in your own thoughts, in your own head, in your own ideas, that could be coming up for you. This is really a week. Take care of your mental health. 12th house rules sleep, alone time, retreat. Make sure you're getting enough of all of that. All right. But the 12th house, I don't want to be all doom and gloom. The 12th house is also working behind the scenes. Okay. So the stuff we do, like if we're, for example, writers and we write in our own little writing space, we don't go out into the world. So this may have to do with restructuring the way we work behind the scenes, what we're working on. It may have to do with looking forward to what we want to be in this next phase that we're all creating. and working behind the scenes on it. So journaling about it, meditating about it, all of that kind of thing. But again, there's going to be something that needs to be cut away. So what is that? But you're really probably going to have to go deep. 12th house is subconscious. And I would really suggest doing that through meditation, journaling, even in therapy. 12th house responds well to therapy. All right. Gemini, this is happening in the 11th house of your tribe. So this could have to do with restructuring friend groups, groups that you're a member of. So whether that's career organizations, professional organizations, religious organizations, community organizations, whatever you think of as like your group identity. But definitely, mostly for you guys, Gemini, I think this is going to be your friend group where you're really feeling like you need to make changes, but you don't know what they are. And there's this old friend that you've loved for a very long time and has been a part of your life. And you're feeling like you're just not aligned as far as your thinking and all of that goes anymore. Your ideas aren't aligned anymore. And you need to cut this person out of the group. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I think there's going to be a lot of, no, we've been friends for 20 years. We've been friends since kindergarten, that kind of thinking. And it's just going to be like you really have to face up to, are you on the same philosophic wavelength anymore? If not, you may have to consider cutting some people out of your life, or at least out of your inner circle. The 11th house is really our tribe. Just because you cut someone out of that, you're going to cut them away. Forget it. You're going to cut them out. I know you are. All right. I hope that's helpful. It's not easy. This week is not easy, y'all. Cancer, this is happening in the 10th house of career. I don't know what to say. This is like some of you are going to be quitting jobs. Some of you are going to be setting boundaries, redefining boundaries and saying, nope, I can do this part of my job, but I am no longer taking on these responsibilities. I'm cutting this stuff out. I'm beyond that, or it's just too much, or whatever it is. This could also have to do with breaking contracts. Yeah, because Mercury is contracts, right? So this could be like we had a contract in place, but no more. I need a new contract. So Saturn would be the boss. Mars is that newer energy saying, this is not working for me anymore. And there could be some battle going on there. This is not an easy opponent. Whether the opponent lives within you or, your own mind in conflict, which can be with Mercury right there, or whether this is your boss. But yeah, I think some career changes are going to be happening for Cancer. Okay, for Leo, this is happening in your 9th house, Leo. This is changing your philosophic position in the world. This is like, I've been hearing a lot of people talking about and I'm not going to go into politics, but the whole thing going on with the president of the United States and Pope Leo. And I'm finding a lot of people really having a conflict. They were raised Catholic and left it. And now this whole weird thing is up. And honestly, Pope Leo's, you get what I'm saying. I'm just going to leave it at that. But you may be grappling with, do I need to return in some way to the Catholicism that I was raised in? But that's a very specific group of you. But I'm hearing it in client sessions, just so you know. But this could very much be grappling with spiritual identity. I've always identified as Wiccan, and now I'm feeling like I want to break out of the boxes. I want to break out of the confines and become some other thing, right? Yeah, it's going to involve cutting out something in your belief system, in your spiritual framework. The other thing it could be for some of you is starting or stopping education. I think a lot of people are going to be either going back to because they realize they want something new in their life and they need to go get additional training. Or if you're already in an educational program and you're like, this doesn't suit where I'm going, so I'm quitting this. Now, you may start up a different thing. You may change majors or do whatever. But in that higher education or spirituality area of your life, yeah, get ready for profound change. All right. For Virgo, this is happening in your 8th house of joint finances, shared finances. I think a lot of you are going to be breaking out of whatever retirement system you've been in, savings program you've been a part of, the way you've been combining resources with a partner, spouse, whatever. There's going to be some breaking away, like that old way of thinking about combined wealth or retirement savings, all of that kind of stuff. The old way of thinking about it, I don't trust that anymore. And I'm going to cut through that and figure out a new way to take care of my finances. The other area that this could hit for Virgos, 8th house is also traumas and fears, clinging to the past, wanting to move forward, being afraid, old trauma holding you back. This is going to be a time where you're grappling with that. This week is not going to be the week when you solve it. That's true for all of us, whatever area this is hitting. But you will start to have breakthroughs as far as I need to, ditch this therapist and get a new therapist. I need to let go of certain people because they create fear in my life or whatever, the naysayers. I don't know, but there's going to be some grappling, push, pull, frustration that the area of healing trauma, releasing old fear, all of that kind of stuff. Remember, Chiron is also in Aries right now, not part of this union of planets, but still in the house. And so healing is possible. It's just going to take some struggle to get there. Okay. Libra, this is happening in your 7th house of, we call it the marriage house, but this is all important one-on-one relationships. So if you're not married or in partnership, it could apply to how you're looking for partnership or old belief systems about partnership, but it could also have to do with a business partner or, some other really key player that's one-on-one. So apply it as it makes sense to you. For a lot of us, though, this is going to be really having a major push-pull in a relationship. The old way of being in relationship versus new ideas, all of that. I think a lot of couples are going to be fighting this week. I do. Mercury is communication, and he's sitting on top of Mars, the warrior. And I think it could be about like, this is how we've always been. And you're saying like, yeah, and it doesn't work for me. But do know that even if you're having that fight with a partner, you may also have conflicted feelings. So there's a part of you that wants to cling to the old way as well. So yeah, I think it's a tough time. Slow down if you can, work together, take breaks from each other as needed. Yeah. If you feel like things are getting out of hand, give yourself some space. For those of you who are single and maybe you can't think of another important one-on-one relationship where this is coming up, this could be really internal for you where you're like, I always thought I was looking for this kind of thing, but I'm sort of feeling drawn to this other kind of partner relationship, but I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I really want that dream of, I don't know, walking down the aisle wearing the white dress or the tux, depending on your jam. And now I'm kind of thinking like, I want to go live in a commune, right? Open love, flower power. Oh, wait, that's an old generation. Saturn. Anyway, you get what I'm saying? Yeah, grappling in that relationship zone. All right. And for Scorpio, Scorpio, this is happening in your sixth house of day-to-day routines and physical health. For a lot of you, I think this is going to have to do with health. Sixth house is so physical health. I do want you to look at yourself clearly, honestly, see yourself. What's your diet like? What's your exercise routine like? Have you gotten some recent lab work done just to check in and see how your levels are or whatever? And I think there's going to need to be some letting go of stuff that you've held on to. I know people, I have a certain person in mind, especially who, when dieting, and I know I don't want to use the word, when changing eating patterns to address some health issues, this person wants to always eat the same way, but do things like have their salad dressing on the side of the salad or the mayonnaise for the sandwich on the side. But then this person uses all the salad dressing and all the mayonnaise. It's not different, right? That's a clinging to the way you've always eaten because you don't want to change, but you're still eating the same way. You're just dumping the salad dressing on yourself, right? On the salad by yourself. Does that make sense? Anywho, so what I'm saying is, yeah, just if you need to make physical changes, you're going to find that the stuff you've been doing, you've got to legitimately change it. Cut some stuff out. Make some bold changes. Mars wants more activity, more passion behind it, more energy. Saturn's going to try to hold on to all the stuff that got you to this unhealthy place in the first place. Okay, so be aware of that. This could also be about how you structure your day-to-day routine. But I've always gotten up and had my coffee in the morning, and then I do X and then I do Y. And Mars is saying, yeah, you got to cut some of this stuff out and be ready to restructure and reorganize your days. Okay, but for most of you, look at your health. Okay, Sagittarius, this is happening in your fifth house, which is creativity, fun, leisure activity, sex. It's also children, which I'll address quickly, only because I don't like to give parenting advice. I'm just going to be straight up about that. I do it one-on-one. So if you book a session with me, we can talk about your kids, right? But I find it a little problematic to talk about people's parenting when I'm doing such a general overview thing because parenting is so tricky and it really needs to be individualized. But this could have to do with how you're interacting with your children, how you're raising them, what your parenting style is, needing to go through some transformation. Okay, so consider that if that's you, book a session if you need to, and we can go into more detail. So the other thing, though, that this is going to be about is how you have fun, what you do for leisure, your sexual life and sexual style. How does it need to change? This week, you may be finding that those areas of life, fun, leisure activities, sex, just aren't as fulfilling, but like that's how you've always been. That's what you've always done. That's who you are in a way. Think about those things, what we do for fun, how we have sex, right? Those kind of things are very much part of our identity. So cutting away things, making radical change can mess with your mind a little bit, right? It can be hard to do. The other thing is your creative energy. And this is if you're an artist, if you're a writer, if you're a content creator, but just if you live a creative life, you cook, you garden, you whatever it is that you live a creative life, you may find that you're feeling stale that way. And you need to, like you've always done water painting, but you need to shift it up and go spray paint some graffiti. I don't know, but you see what I'm saying? Like letting go of the way it's always been and getting wild and Mars and out there. All right, hope that's helpful. And for Capricorn, this is home and family. You're going to be having some blow-ups with family members. That's all there is to it. This is communication, Mars the warrior, and the old way of doing things and the older generation. Get ready to be battling and having some push-pull, tug of war with your parents, your grandparents, those kind of figures in your life. Yeah. Also, how and where you live. You may have been like, nah, I'm a city girl. I've always lived in the city. And you may be really grappling with like, yeah, maybe it's not working for me anymore, but you're not ready to like commit to the homestead in, where do they have homesteads? Like, yeah, in that weird state where they have Nebraska. I don't know. Do they have homesteads there? You get what I'm saying. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not ready to do that, right? So there's going to be this sort of push pull. I want to change how, where I live, whatever, but I'm not really sure what that looks like. Yeah, just think about it. Take walks in the fresh air and let yourself explore those ideas. Aquarius, this is happening in your third house of communication. It's also siblings. So some of you are going to be blowing up with your siblings. Need to make changes in those relationships, communication problems, things like that with siblings. So just get ready for it. Try to be patient. You know how it goes. It's going to be a frustrating week. The other thing, though, is local community. So how you're interacting, what role you're playing in the community. Like, I've never gotten involved with community. Oh, but maybe I should because I want to bring about change. Maybe I should run for city council, or the opposite. I've always been totally involved in my community and I'm feeling like I want to pull back, but I want to cut some of that out. Yeah, maybe. But communication is where it's going to hit most people. And this is just going to be misunderstandings, arguments, heated discussions, a feeling of we're just not having a meeting of the minds, being misunderstood. Yeah, that kind of thing. And it's going to be frustrating. So in some ways, pull back a little if you can and give it a little time. Take things slower if you can. However, Mars is not going to want to do that. That's what makes this week frustrating. All right. And Pisces. Pisces, this is happening in your second house of money. And it's just going to be like old debt that you realize you need to cut out, but you're confused about how to do that because, yeah, just that. You're confused about how to do that. Or the way you've always made your money, maybe you've always worked a salary job and you're getting this desire to be self-employed, but you're clinging to the security or the perceived security of having a job that gives you a salary. It's going to be that kind of thing where you're really grappling with that old way of thinking, but not quite ready. It's going to require some complete cutting out. For a lot of you, I think this is going to involve dealing with debt that you've got to cut out. Cut out certain ways you spend money extravagantly and that kind of thing. Mercury rules the marketplace, so our purchases and all of that. It could also involve breaking contracts because you want to make money in a different way. I think for most of us, it's going to be debt, spending, that kind of thing. Okay? It's a tough week, you all. That's all there is to it. This is going to be the week of grappling, frustration, push, pull. Just keep in mind that we will pull out of this. We will move forward. It's just that this week isn't going to be the fun week. I hope that having this information ahead of time will help you sort of strategize and plan. And at least when it's coming up, you can be kind of like, okay, I know what this is. Let me try to give myself some space and time to deal with it. Let me honor my needs here, right? Mars is going to make that rough, but he's not alone in that house, so he doesn't get to win at everything, right? Anyway, again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing, leaving comments, putting a link in your social media. I would be so grateful. And anyway, I'm just grateful for all of you anyway. Reach out if you need a session. It's a tough week. And with all of that said, go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always, even in a week like this. Bye.